Providing live finance advice on WMAC since 1993. It's time for Your Money with Steve Rosenberg, Sherri Goss, and Randy Goss. To participate in today's program, call 478-742-0940 with your financial questions or comments. And now live from the Macon studios of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's Your Money.
Good morning, Middle Georgia. Randy and Sherri Goss.
Good
I have a
morning.
buzz in my ears. Do you? Zzz. When I talk, is that something you can do anything about, or it's just me? It's not you? It's me?
No, I don't have it here.
Zzz. Okay. Anyways, so we are here every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. It's either me, Steve Rosenberg, or Randy Goss. We are with Rosenberg Financial Group, and we are fee-based money managers, and we're here to help you learn what is going on out there in the financial world. You found the problem, and you said it wasn't your problem, and it went my buzzing.
So it was your problem.
Yeah.
Ah.
He pushed a button, and it
He
went
did say
away.
he was sleepy, so.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes, we'll give him a little slack
Yeah.
here.
So if we hear you snoring, we're going to hit you with a magazine, okay? All right.
So yesterday, the S&P 500 closed 2873. The all-time high was April 1st of 2019, 2945. So we are closing in on the highest valuation ever. And so things are good. Things are good regardless of the trade wars. People have to keep digesting the news of the trade wars. And you have to remember that all corporations got a 10% tax cut last year. So they already have that baked into the numbers. And then so if they're going to take a little bit of a hit on the trade war, you've got to balance out the information. And nobody's talking about that. Everybody's just screaming and yelling and running around with their arms up in the air in the news about these trade wars and how they're just destroying the economy and destroying people's, the earth. They're just how destructive everything is, and we're going to go into a recession. And just
you take a look.
already.
You take a look at the news. One day it's you're down 400 points,
and it's all a nightmare.
And it's just
screaming
because somebody said something.
Yes,
nothing really tangible has changed.
Yeah,
and then the next day somebody says something positive, and it's back up. So
it's really hard to invest in this market when all this is going crazy like this. So I cannot wait for these trade deals to be over with so we can settle down. And my opinion is that Trump is going to have to close this stuff out when he gets to the year 2 re-election time frame. He's going to have to get this off the table and start focusing on getting reelected.
Right.
So that's what I think will happen is it'll continue bumping around through the summer, and then we'll get to that place. And then once he gets it all over with, the market will be relieved and things will settle down. But anywho, let me see here. I don't want to talk about that. So a couple of things to share. We talked about a job fair last week, and there's another one. I just got this from the Director of Workforce Development at Middle Georgia Regional College. It's Horn Brothers Construction. They're doing a job fair on June 25th, 8:30 to 3:30 at the Georgia Department of Labor on Mercer University Drive. If anybody needs information on this, all you have to do is email me, Sherri, Sherri, at rfmoney.com.
And Horn Brothers is one of the largest solar installers in the United States, and is one of the top rated as well. And so this is not just a local job problem. This is something you're probably going to have to travel with, is what I would think. But they got
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, they're going all over the United States installing stuff. So,
but
who knows?
They're doing some kind of big project locally because they're taking entry-level solar technicians, which they just started that degree program at, oh my gosh, what's the school in Perry?
Central Georgia?
No.
Oh, Fort Valley.
Yeah, Fort Valley has started a program. I've seen it a couple times where they have people that they are training because of the greenhouses out there and the solar. So entry-level solar tech. What is a skid steer operator?
It's a tractor.
Oh, okay. Pile driver operator and a QA technician. But I think all of this stuff is you could, like, on the job, learn how to do this because I don't know how many people are going to know this. Competitive pay, okay, $15 an hour, profit sharing bonus, on-the-job training, advancement opportunities, holidays, vacations, medical, dental, vision, disability, paid life and disability, 401k, and employee assistance program. So that's something I haven't seen for a long time.
Look, it's a bobcat, basically.
Oh, bobcat. Yeah, I could do that. Right?
I've seen you drive your car. I would not want to be in front of you.
If I was driving a bobcat?
Yeah, because you can't drive the SUV. Cause it's,
I can't because it's too big, but that's a tiny thing.
It's tiny.
I could do that.
I'm renting one for you because this is going to be YouTube material.
I think I could do it.
I have faith in you, sweetie.
All right.
You can do anything you set your mind to.
So the other thing that's happening, so this week I went to an amazing public event because a friend of ours, Betsy Fitzgerald, is now the CEO and president of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Heart of Georgia. And I told Betsy when she got this job, I said, once you get into this, we need to sit down and talk because I don't even understand what they do. And so I got to hear a presentation. They just got awarded a $500,000 grant from the Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention Organization. So when kids show up in truancy, I mean, they're skipping school, petty crimes, they get referred to Big Brother, Big Sister, and they are assigned a mentor to be with them. So the lady who just resigned as president and CEO, she introduced her mentee. It's a young lady that she's been working with for 6 years, that they have been communicating on a weekly basis, spending time together, her mentoring her, and now the girl is going to college.
Fantastic.
She graduated high school and is going to college because this woman took the time out of her life to spend time with this young person that had lack of parenting, lack of direction, lack of vision, and now she is on her way. I say all of this to say, if you're out there and you're retired and you have free time and you've been looking for something to do, you could change lives.
That's right.
Through this program. It's Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Heart of Georgia. So the agency is intentional in serving children at risk of truancy or failure, focused on driving educational achievement, improving early reading skills, and increasing high school graduation rates. After 65 years of service in Central Georgia, they have become a trusted service provider. So the juvenile justice system finds these kids that are at risk of ending up in jail. You're going to keep somebody out of jail. What a life
This
purpose.
program tries to cut people off at the pass so that before they end up there. And it's great because a lot of times people just need that encouragement. They need to have a little mentorship just to let them know that someone cares.
But if you need information about this, email me, Sherri@rfmoney.com. I will forward you the information about Betsy, and you can see how you can get involved. But I think it's a great opportunity. And now that they've got this $500,000 grant, they're going to need more mentors than ever. And so that's probably what Betsy's going to ask me to help her with, is to find people that can do this. Next thing on our pile, and I know this is not about your money, but we're going to get to that. Last Saturday, we went to the Ocmulgee Mounds National Historic Park, and we'd never been there. And if you've never been there, you need to go and see this thing, and it's absolutely free. You park your car, you walk inside. There's this amazing ranger that explains all the artifacts. The guy was incredible.
Every ranger I met, because some of them come to the first Friday, I've met them there.
Oh, yeah.
They're all that way.
They're fired up about what they're doing.
Fired up about the history of that place and what a wonderful place it is. And it is. You can go, there's over 6 miles of trails you can just go walk around on.
Take your dog, take your bicycle.
You can go sit on top of the Indian mounds and meditate, whatever you want.
Yep. So they also have activities on a monthly basis. So they have pottery. They have things for kids to do that are free. So like on June 15th, there's a pottery kids craft at 3 o'clock. You can make a clay pot for Father's Day. They have things where you can, National Dog Day, you take your dog and you go out there and you can make a dog, your dog's paw in a piece of clay and ornament thing. There's all sorts of stuff, pumpkin carving. I love this one. You should go to this because you love spiders. Spider Kids Craft. Learn about spiders and find out which spiders are good to have around.
None of them. None of them.
Randy is terrified of spiders.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
Yeah.
We were living in Spain when he was in the Air Force there.
And this just proves you're evil, everybody,
Okay.
just so you know.
I have a good sense of humor. So he was working night shift, and he's terrified of spiders. And I was in a store, and somehow they had this box of plastic spiders, just random. I don't know how. And at the BX at Madrid Torrejon Air Base, I don't know how they had a box of spiders. But so I bought this box of spiders, and I got some fishing line. And I came home from work because he would come in every night. And he was so exhausted when he got off the night shift. He basically walked down the hall, taking his clothes off, go in the bathroom, do what he needed to do, come in and slide in the bed next to me and real quiet, try not to wake me up. So I took these plastic spiders and I hung them with tape with the fishing line to the point where they'd be in your face.
They just hit me right in the forehead.
They hit you right in the forehead when you walk through the door.
And then when you reach up to figure out what it is, then you feel the fishing line and it feels like a spider web.
And I also had a fake centipede because we had centipedes that used to come up the bathtub. You'd have to always look in the bathtub before you got in the shower and the toilet because the centipedes would come up the.
And these things were
they were
foot
nasty
long.
And huge. And so I also had fake centipedes. And so I took a fake centipede and I put it underneath the
pillow.
The toilet.
Oh,
no,
the
toilet lid. I put it underneath the toilet lid because you always would lift the lid and pee and then you'd come to bed. And so I did that, and then I took a fake spider and I hung it in the door jamb so that you would, when you walked in the bedroom, it would hit you in the face.
Well, the first one you did.
I know, and then I put another spider under your pillow.
Right. Well, that one night. I mean, it's like Groundhog Day there. It's like she would do it all the time, and I fell for it every time. The spider, right as you came inside the back door, and then it hit me right in the forehead. I yelped at that one, went to the bathroom, yelped.
You screamed.
Screamed at that one.
And then you got in the bed.
And then I slid in the bed and put my hand under the pillow and came across that one. And
you're
laying
jumped
over
like 4 feet in the air.
Yeah, and you're just laying around.
I was laughing my head off. It was hilarious. I laid awake waiting for him to come home because it was this routine that he had, and it was just so funny.
That was so predictable.
But anyways, so yeah, Spider Night, that's in October.
I might go to that just to overcome my fears.
There you go. So. Anyways. Next
but how that does deal with money. It will save you $40 over going to a movie. How's that?
It was great entertainment.
Yep.
Downtown, another great news for downtown. First Choice Primary Care has bought the building on the corner of Poplar and Martin Luther King, and it's going to be a primary care, and it says it's going to serve, it's going to be a pharmacy and a primary care.
It's going to have a storefront,
and
a public
food.
Pharmacy, and
they're going to sell fresh food in there.
Fresh food.
This is really interesting.
It is. But, this is a big thing if people are following the revitalization of Macon. Stores like this or businesses like this do not come into a town that's small, and they have to have a certain number of people living downtown so that before they will actually come in. And that's the reason we know that a CVS hasn't been down here and a few other of the large, chain people. But this is a good sign for Macon that we're growing.
I just had a really, really good idea.
What's that?
So there is an organic grocer in Ingleside Village.
Mm-hmm.
He does
just tie these two together.
Grass-fed meat. He has beef, pork, and chicken, all locally raised that you can buy bulk by the box. I mean, you can go in there and you can pre-order, or you can go in there and you can just pick and choose what you want. But he has locally raised produce. He needs to know about this. Mm-hmm. He should be the vendor of this thing, of the grocer. Yep. I'm going to call him. What? Oh. Okay, so we're getting into the money now after we did all that because that's just stuff I think you need to know. So last week we had a really nice call from a gentleman whose wife had passed, and he had a question about property deeds. And I've been thinking about you. If you're listening, I've been thinking about you all week because here's where I'm having a problem. So you had a question. I answered your question, but I didn't comment on your loss. And maybe I said, I'm very sorry for your loss. I probably said that, and then I focused on the question and answered the question, and all that's well and good. But I have another question for you if you are listening out there. How are you doing? It's very tough to lose a spouse. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very hard. And so a couple comments. First of all, your question was really good, and you took the risk of calling in here to get information, and you were not afraid to look like you didn't know anything. I mean, that takes risk.
It does.
It takes. But you don't have any idea how many people you probably helped by asking the question. It is huge.
It is.
We got calls last week after the show because he called and he asked the question.
That's right.
And so I thank you so much for calling and having the guts to call and put yourself out there and to ask. Because a lot of people are terrified of calling because they think somebody's going to recognize their voice and they're going to be embarrassed. So you did a good thing. The second piece of this, though, is I really wanted to ask you how you're doing because I have clients who are widowers, and sometimes they don't do too well. They don't eat right. They don't sleep. They're stressed out. They have other questions about lots of things that they need guidance on. And so if you want to come in and just talk about everything, just call. Call the office at 922-8100. Ask to make an appointment with me, and we'll sit down and spend an hour. There's no charge, and just talk through everything that you are going through, because maybe you don't have a good family support system. Maybe you don't have a lot of friends you can talk about this with. Maybe you don't want to talk to your friends about it. Maybe you just need somebody, third-party, objective person to just run everything through.
A sounding board.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you want to, please know I am there, Macon or Warner Robins, whenever you want to. All you have to do is call. Anyways, I worry about when you lose a spouse. I really worry about people that go through that because it's really horrible. Loneliness is bad. We talk about it. Randy and I talk about it all the time. In fact, I think about a lot about what would I do if you weren't here anymore. Would I downsize? The only thing I know for sure is I would keep the cats because I would have to have a living thing to come home to if you weren't around. But we've been talking about this stuff ever since we were dating. What if something happens to one of us? What would the other person do? There's no way I'd remarry. I had no way.
I know. Once you've had the best,
We've been very fortunate. We've been together,
have.
34 whatever years?
You don't remember?
No.
What's our anniversary day?
85.
What day?
November.
What?
I don't know.
November 23rd.
It's on the calendar. We forget about it. It'll be like it's our anniversary, and we'll realize, oh, hey, happy anniversary, by the way.
It's funny talking about that.
We don't do gifts or cards.
But we forget birthdays and things like that. So a couple of my relatives, we have this agreement now that we can say happy birthday 2 months on either side of a birthday.
Right.
So and
just get it over
with. We get
with.
it covered.
I'm lucky if I remember to send
We should
an
make
email.
it 6 months on either side. That way you never miss it.
Why don't I just say it all on Christmas Day? I know what day that is. It's obvious because we don't work on that day, and I could just cover all of it: anniversaries, birthdays, graduations, weddings. Just do it all on one day.
Yeah, and everyone just one gift. The economy would crash.
Yeah. All right. So last Wednesday night on TV, I do Channel 13. Around 5:25 every Wednesday night, I do a topic, and then I take phone calls until 6. Last Wednesday night, I talked about my life book, which is free on our website, retirerelax.com, and the phones blew up.
Yep.
People wanting a copy of it, and it walks you through all the basic estate planning things that everybody needs to think about. It doesn't cost you a dime. You go to our website, retirerelax.com, you print out the pages, you fill it out, you put it in a folder, you tell your beneficiaries, here's where everything is, all the way down to my burial cremation instructions.
It is under the resources tab.
Yeah. So if you have a hard time finding it, you can email me or give us a call at the office, but everyone needs to talk through all of this stuff. And I also have a compliance-approved seminar. It's not really a seminar. It's really a talk.
Yeah.
And I have a handout, and I taught. In fact, I'm doing one on Tuesday for a group of government employees at Callaway Gardens, which is going to be kind of fun.
That's Tuesday.
Yeah. Get to drive down there and see that place. I hope it's not stormy. But anyway, so if you have a church group or a club or a thing and you need a speaker, I do this for free. and I'll bring a couple of books to give away as a raffle prize thing, and I'll just talk through all these issues and why everybody needs to work through this stuff, because I'll tell you what drove this is tons of people coming to me with questions, so I created a book so that it can just help everybody and answer all of your questions. But what really gets my goat is back when I was in the insurance business and went through training for doing group insurance, the trainer actually said this. They said, you're going to be in a hurry. You're going to have a bunch of people standing in line to sign up for life insurance on your laptop. And don't worry about asking about beneficiaries. Just put the estate.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong. Bad. Never put your estate as beneficiary on life insurance. Life insurance transfers out, comes to the beneficiary outside of the estate. Yep. It should never go through the estate. If it goes through the estate, then it could be used to pay a lot of bills instead of going to the person that's supposed to have the money
needs it the most.
Because they need the money.
Right.
So things like that people get misunderstanding or misled or misinformed about. So anyways, my life book on retireerelax.com, print it out, hand it out. I've even suggested people make copies and then go hand them out as a Christmas present to all their family. I have actually this lady, she comes to the office every year and gets 5. Because I have them at the office in Warner Robins, and I charge $5 because you're basically paying for the binder. And it has the life book material and the advanced directive in it. And I have her, she comes every year and buys 5, and she gives them as gifts for Christmas. To try to get people to do this.
Yeah.
She's like a little missionary out there. I love her. Anyways, all right. So, I don't know if I want to talk about this next stuff.
Well, I think it's a good thing. You can just cover it really quickly.
Okay. So,
it gets right into your book.
So, I talked about this on Channel 13 too, and I had piles of calls. Are you responsible to pay off the debts of your deceased spouse? As a general rule, no one is, and this is from LegalZoom.com. For Georgia. As a general rule, no one else is obligated to pay the debt of a person who has died, but there are some exceptions. If you're the co-signer of a loan, you owe the debt. If you're a joint account holder on a credit card, you owe the debt. If you have a mortgage together, of course you're going to have to pay the debt because it doesn't get wiped out just because somebody dies. So if the person who died was the only person on the mortgage and you inherit it by the will, then you've got to go get financing in your name. And that becomes a problem sometimes because the person that inherits the house doesn't have the credit to be able to even get a mortgage. And so they can't take over the house. I've seen that a lot.
So they just live there until they can get their credit up?
If the house is in your name and your beneficiary and your will to get the house is a person that doesn't have credit, then you should get life insurance on yourself that benefits that person, and they could take the life insurance proceeds and pay the house off and stay in the house. That's what should happen.
That's a great
in that
plan.
Scenario.
Yep.
So can a debt collector contact me about my deceased spouse's debt? It depends. The debt collector is allowed to contact the deceased person's spouse looking for the executor of the estate. But they cannot harass you just because you're the spouse. So you refer them, which you probably are the executor.
And they can't imply that the debt is yours.
Right. But there's some really skanky debt collectors out there that will lie and tell you all sorts of things that aren't true to try to get you to make a payment. And if you make a payment, you are now on the hook. You will have taken the act of taking responsibility for a debt that was not yours, and they will be after you for the rest of your life. So never do that. Never make a payment on somebody else's hospital bill or whatever you think you're doing a good favor for this person. No, no, no. You do not want to be on the hook for that. I used to work at Consumer Credit Counseling Service years ago. I was there for 10 years. I saw this all the time, and it was horrific. So if you're the executor or administrator of the deceased person's estate, collectors can contact you to discuss the debts and blah, blah, blah. If you're not the executor, you just need to tell the debt collector who the executor is. You have the right to tell the debt collector to stop contacting you. Under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, debt collectors may not harass, oppress, or abuse you or any third parties they contact. And if it's an unsecured debt, they're out of luck.
That's right.
They have no recourse. They can just scare you into making a payment to try to get you to be responsible. So they can file a claim against the estate like any other creditor. But where's the thing I need to really get to here? Okay.
Let me say something here. If you're an authorized user on a credit card but not a joint account holder, you're generally not obligated to pay for the debt.
Good point.
If the debt collector insists that you are co-signed on the account but you believe that you did not sign any documents, tell the debt collector to provide proof.
Bills and debts don't typically pass from a spouse to the surviving spouse in Georgia. A surviving spouse does not inherit them, and the Federal Trade Commission protects survivors from harassment by bill collectors. Exceptions exist, of course, which we already mentioned that. But there's a thing in here. There's like a thing about, where is this? It's in here somewhere.
Tell me
about
what you're trying to find.
So the estate is supposed to provide a year of support.
That's right.
Where is that? We just read it this morning.
Yes, we did.
This is aggravating.
Hang on a second.
I got too many things here. But the estate is supposed to provide a year of support to the spouse based on the number of children and the income that they need for a year. Then it pays the funeral costs. Then it pays the medical bills if there's money to do it. But there is a process of this. I don't see this in here.
I don't either. I don't know why.
What do we do?
Well, anyway, we looked up, how much is a year of support, and every person is different.
It's right here. Wait, no, it's not.
But every person has a different level of support, and they want to make it so that you can maintain the standard of living that you had before.
The first thing the executor of your spouse's estate must pay is a year's support to you. After that, the estate, which is the money that the deceased person had in their name, investments, savings, the estate pays your spouse's funeral bills. Third in line are the expenses of settling the estate, and fourth are the medical bills. If the bills don't relate to this final illness, the estate must still pay them, but they'll receive less priority. So, anywho, just don't take on debt that's not yours. That's the message. That's a big one. All right, so let's get on with the more stuff about your money.
Well, before we do that, why don't you do a PSA, because
That'd
it's
be
halfway
smart.
through.
Wow. Randy and Sherri Goss here. We are with Rosenberg Financial Group. We are fee-based money managers, offices in Warner Robins and Macon. Complimentary consultations to talk about your retirement plans, when to take Social Security, which pension option makes the most sense, how are you going to pay for health insurance in retirement, have you saved enough money to support yourself in retirement. We do all of that. Takes an hour. We block an hour, and we sit down and get to know you and what's your scenario and give you advice, because there's always questions of, should I pay the house off? And I've had a lot of people lately who they don't want to pay the house off, or they almost have, but now they want to downsize, and they're trying to figure out where to go, and they can't find a place. And
you mentioned it earlier. You had a couple, I think it was this last week, that they came in just for the checkup, and they were going through everything, and they said, yeah, our insurance goes to the estate, and it's like a big red flag when you told them you shouldn't do that. And they were so thankful.
And there was another one this week that they have their family is going through some really rough things, and so they might be making a retirement decision sooner than later because of grandchildren and illness and stuff. And it was just a really, really good appointment. It was really, they just needed to talk through the whole what if. What if this happens? What do we do? Can we afford to do what we need to do to help our grandchildren if this stuff hits the fan? Really good appointment, and it's never a waste of my time. I've only had a couple of cases where I really didn't think I did anything for anybody, but people will tell me just being able to sit down and talk through it all is a mental release. They can kind of let go of the things that they've been worrying about, because honestly, the people that are worried the most are the people in the best shape.
Usually.
It always is.
Yep.
They're like so freaked out, and they've got all this paperwork, and they come in with these bags of stuff, and they're like, I don't know, how's this going to go? And they're all worried. Well, they're savers. They're super savers, typically, and they're so well organized and prepared, but the ones who worry the most are the ones who have done the best,
right,
usually.
But even those people, sometimes they think they've got it right.
But they want to bounce it off of you.
That's right. and it's just really fun to watch when they leave your office. I work right across the hall from her, and it's really fun when they leave. They're all worried when they get there, and they're like lifelong buddies when they leave.
Like a big weight's been lifted off their brain.
Yeah.
So it's really good stuff, and that's why I love working with Steve Rosenberg, because we do the free consultations. We're not under pressure to try to sell it. We don't sell anything. We're not sitting there trying to follow up every 3 months. Oh, are you going to bring your money? We don't follow up at all. We don't do anything. If you want to come back, you come back. You'll never hear from me again. You don't even get a card.
Well, anyway, as Sherri said, we're Randy and Sherri Goss. We're the Rosenberg Financial Group. We do have a website. It's retirerelax.com. Very simple.
Lots of free reports, my life book pages, videos. I cut you off.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Did. And we have lots of special reports in Sherri's life book. And as a matter of fact, on the front page, there's a big red button in the upper right-hand corner. It's just for the special reports. Take you right to it. Everything there is absolutely free, and we don't capture your name, but we do have a little pop-up box in the very beginning. If you want to be added to our distribution list for Facebook, LinkedIn, emails that we send out, please just add your name there, and we will not harass you, I promise.
Right. So, all right. So this next article, this is a good thing. There's a bunch of other junk in here I'm not going to get into, but the bottom line is Congress is trying to make some things happen so that more people can have access to a 401k, and that people don't have to take required minimum distributions at 70 and a half. I have so many clients that hate this law because they don't need the money. Some of them are still working. 70 is like the new 50 for a lot of people. I'm almost 60. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
I hope not.
I'll still be working when I'm 70. Mm-hmm. So to make you have to start taking money out. Now, if you're still working at 70 and a half, you have an employer 401k where you work. You don't have to take an RMD out of that. But if you have IRAs elsewhere, you do have to take required minimum distributions. It's based on your life expectancy and the value of your account. So Congress is talking about, and the House has already passed their version of this law. The Senate has their own version, and then they have to battle it out and come up with the same thing they can all agree on. But they pretty much are all agreeing that more people should have access to 401ks and that people are living longer. We shouldn't be forcing people to take money out before they need to. But they're only going to bump it from 70 and a half to 72.
And that's over a period of like 10 years or so.
It should be bumped out to 80, but they want the taxes. Right. They want the taxes because you have to pay ordinary income taxes on that money you take out. So, anywho, any change in that direction is good. But Trump is talking about making it so a group of employees could band together as a whole. Small businesses could all band together. Because here's the problem. So
to make a multiple employer plan.
Yeah. So I did a few 403Bs. I did one 401k for very small people, small companies. The plan document itself that you have to create is stupid because they charge $1,000. And this is way 10 years ago. They were charging $1,000 a year for the plan document. And so you have a tiny employer, $1,000 might be a deal breaker.
That's right.
Plus, you have to have somebody that's going to make the contributions from the paychecks into this thing every month. And if you don't have a good software program, that might be a hassle. And so you have to have a company of a certain size before you can even do this stuff. Small-time people don't want to deal with it.
Right. And I take a look at Pittman Automotive, which is one of our companies that we have, we can't afford to go do that and to manage it the whole 9 yards. So if we can get together with other companies, I would be much more willing.
But here's the biggest problem.
Well, I was getting that some people don't really want to save.
But here's the biggest problem. I got to say one more thing, CT. We have a phone call, but I got to say this. So as a financial advisor, I would go to these little employers, and I would sit there for 4 hours explaining it to people. Here's what you can do. Here are the investments. Would you like to sign up? Here's the pile of paperwork to open your account, blah, blah, blah. And they'd say, I'll go home and think about it and never do anything.
Right.
Or they would do it and maybe put in $25 a paycheck. I lose money on this. So find a financial advisor that is going to take on all these tiny companies. This Congress does not have a clue what they're talking about. They have no understanding because people don't sign up because they don't understand the investments. Who's going to explain that to them?
Right. Maybe
a robot. I don't know. We could get some artificial intelligence in there and say, based on the the algorithm of your life, you should be in this fund.
Okay.
All right.
Let's take a call, Sherri.
Yay. Good morning. You're on Your Money with Randy and Sherri.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to have to call you on something that was wrong last week.
Uh-oh.
If you don't mind.
No,
please do.
Bring it on.
Well, I called and asked about double E savings bonds.
Okay.
And you told me that you had to box them up and send them in to cash them.
Yes.
That is not true.
Okay.
I called the Credit Union.
Really?
And they said they would gladly do that.
What?
And I read on the Treasury website.
Mm-hmm.
They just made a general statement that most financial institutions, banks, credit unions, so on and so forth, will.
All of my clients who have these have told me they can't do this anywhere. Which credit union did you go to?
Robbins.
Wow.
Good for them.
Oh, this is huge because I just saw somebody recently that has a big pile of this stuff.
Yeah, well, you told me you had to box it up and send it in. I kind of went, I don't like that
I know,
at all.
nobody likes that idea.
So, anyway.
Wow.
Well, thanks for
I'm so glad you told me that because I literally just had somebody. Now, if you have to change the name on the certificates, though, they're going to have to get sent in, right?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, because if you inherit them, or if somebody that's deceased is the name on it, they're going to have to be sent in and transferred to somebody, because the credit union can't do that. But they're going to cash them out for you, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I need to call the credit union. I got to write the note to myself.
Starting next year is when mine quits paying interest.
Okay.
And so,
I need to call and see if they would be helpful in the transfer. Because it's a horrible thing to have to put them in the mail because you need to insure them.
Yes.
Right.
I just, I can't see putting, $5,000 at a time in bonds in there and sending them off into Never Never Land.
Yeah, it's frightening. That's why I tell people to send them with the with the postage where you're tracking it. It has a tracking number and you insure it for the value and all that, certified and return receipt, all that kind of thing.
And hope it works.
But at least it's insured so you get your money back.
Yeah.
But it's still nerve-wracking.
Eventually.
Still nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I'm glad you called because I'm going to call the credit union and talk to them about this because I have had people tell me that they will not take them anymore. I've had people tell me this, that they went to the credit union, they were told no.
Well, now, unless this person I talked to was wrong, and like I said, I looked on the website, the Treasury's website as well.
Wow. This is great news. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yay. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And just for the record, Sherri, you were wrong.
I go on what people tell me.
I know.
So what people told me
we
was
do a lot
wrong.
of research, but we got that one wrong. So
I got it directly from the horses' mouths.
A bunch of them.
I should talk about that on TV.
Yeah.
Because I bet people all over are sitting around on stacks of these things. Okay. I'm calling the credit union.
You were talking about the multiple employer plans and the difficulty of a
financial advisor
picking these up and working with these smaller companies because of the volume of paperwork and the time that you put into it, and they're just not going to make any money.
And then you have to have handouts for everybody that works there, and they take them home and think about it, and they may call you a week later and go, oh, well, I've decided I want to sign up for this. So then you drive to the business and sit there and go through all this paperwork, and they're going to put $25 a payday in this thing, and you pick a fund, and here's the next part that's hard. So you have to come in annually, and you should be doing reviews with all these people. So they need to show up, be there, sit down with them. What fund are you in? Is it still the right fund?
Yeah, because it's a good thing, though, because like at the auto garage, we would love to give a pension plan or, an investment vehicle for these guys. But we've got a couple that just don't want to invest. They want that money in their hand that day.
Because they're in debt.
They're paycheck to paycheck. They're making good money, but they just spend everything. So it's very difficult to get a plan going if you're an individual employer. So this is a great way. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing, but technology is going to have to step in on this. You're going to have something where you put in your family size, your age, your earnings, what type of investment is right for you and how that shifts over time, which is why all these life cycle funds exist that start out aggressive and they get more conservative as you get closer to your retirement age. I mean, that's probably what everybody's doing, is putting everybody in those things so that they don't even just set it and forget it.
And this is really one of those things where a robo-advisor, I think, really could be a good thing.
Yeah, I can see that too.
I mean, just put the information out there and say, I know you can read, sit down with it. If you want to do it, plug it in there, and then you have one giant pot that's multiple employers can become a part of.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Okay, the next one. So I don't get this story, and I wish I knew where this came from. It says 76% of Americans have at least one financial regret. Are you kidding me? 100% of Americans have at least one financial regret.
I agree.
This is not possible, but when they did this survey, they did a survey of, this is Bankrate.com, included 1,000 respondents, and of those with a financial regret, 56 say it has to do with savings, 27% say they didn't start their retirement savings soon enough, 19% who didn't contribute enough to an emergency fund, and 10% who wish they would have saved more for their children's education. I think this is skewed because they only gave them those categories to respond to.
I think so.
And they didn't say, have you ever bought something that was a big mistake? Duh.
Well, on the second page, there is a category that says something else is about 12%.
What's my something else?
What was your?
1984. I was right out of college. My first job, actually my second job. My first job was in a nursing home. I was an activity director. And then I moved to Boise, Idaho, and got a job with a mental health hospital.
And that's not where she met me, just so we're clear.
A mental health hospital, and I was kind of like I was an activity director. Basically, I was the person that did the programs that helped people that were there with major mental health or addiction issues be able to do something on a recreational level so that they could relax and process all the therapy and all of the stuff they were going through. So I'm living in this. I found the tiniest apartment I could find in Boise, Idaho, moved down there, and one day I had this car that I hated. That's a long story, but I was driving a Chevy Nova 4-door blue. It was not a fun, cool car. So one day I decided
4-door?
No, I didn't have I lost the Malibu. No, wait a minute. I lost the Chevelle.
You lost the Chevelle.
My dad took the Chevelle away when I was a senior in high school because he caught me driving too fast.
She was drifting.
I was drifting on gravel, and it was fun. It was so fun. Anywho, he saw me, and he said, okay, that car's going away. So now you get a really crappy-looking Chevy Nova 4-door that I used through college. So I'm out of college, and I'm like, God, this car is so ugly. Really would like a cool car. So I make the mistake of going to a used car lot, and at the car lot was an original paint and tires Triumph TR6 convertible, and the entire trunk was filled with a stereo system and speakers. I mean, and I'm, 25 or...
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I was dumb as a rock. Well, I had inherited $1,000 from my grandmother, and that $1,000 was burning a hole in my pocket. And so I went out looking at cars, and this salesman was the master car salesman. He was that guy.
And you ended up going on a date with him, too, didn't you?
He asked me out. Yeah, he went on a couple of dates. He took me out to dinner. So we got driving this car. Now, this is summer in Boise, Idaho, okay?
It's a good-looking car. I just looked it up. It's a good-looking car.
It's a beautiful car. It was orange with the British flag and the tires.
Probably red striped tires?
Yes.
Yeah.
Original red wall tires. Blawpunk speaker system and stereo. Loud. I mean, it was like I could put the top down and drive around and be like the coolest thing around. And I got sucked into it, and I bought the car. It was an emotional purchase.
Yeah.
And I loved it until October came. So in Idaho, it starts snowing on Halloween, and it doesn't thaw until March. So I'm working at I have this job, and I was in Spokane still when I did this. This was in Spokane. This wasn't Boise. Mm-hmm. I was still at the nursing home. So I had this 10-minute drive to the nursing home, and there were all these hills, and the streets were covered with ice. So most people put snow tires on their cars when this goes on. And I had original Redwall.
Most people.
I had original Redwall tires from a Triumph TR6 that I couldn't afford the tires. I couldn't afford nothing. I mean, it was so stupid. You just can't believe how stupid this was. So when I would drive to work in the mornings, I had to time the red lights to make sure that they were green when I got to the top of the hill, because I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop on the ice. I would slide through the intersection, so I'd have to time the drive. And it was a manual transmission, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Manual transmission. So I'm driving up the hill really slow in first gear and waiting till it turned green, and then I would slowly creep through the intersection because I'd slide half the way down the hill on the other side. It was terrifying.
Oh, that's funny.
Terrifying.
That's awesome.
If my dad had known, he would have flipped out.
Yep.
But, I mean, that was my biggest, stupidest thing I ever did. And so a year later, this is unsustainable. And so I had to go trade it in. You lose money when you trade in a used car. You're going to get gouged. And I bought a Datsun 240Z. That's the car I had when I met you.
That's right.
So every Friday, I had to go to the auto parts store and get 3 quarts of oil and put 3 quarts of oil in it just to get me through the week because I couldn't afford to get it fixed.
She basically had an EPA hazard in front of her apartment building.
It was just draining oil on the ground everywhere I went. I didn't know what to do, and I had no money. I had like an extra $20 a week spare after I worked in that mental health hospital.
There were no mosquitoes in your neighborhood either. All that smoke you had out there killed them all.
But if you want to share the worst, dumbest thing you ever did, call us at 922. Wait a minute, that's not the number. 7420940 is the number.
That's right.
But what's your dumbest thing?
Outside of expensive girlfriends, I would say...
You blew a ton of money when you were dating with me. I thought he had a bunch of money because he had a gold credit card, and I didn't even know how you got one of those. And everywhere we went, he's like using this gold credit card. He's taking me out to dinner, taking me out to drinks, buying me stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy's in the military. He's making a lot of money. This is great. And then we get engaged, and the next day he comes to me and says, you know what? Now that we're getting married, can you help me pay this credit card off? Because he didn't have any money. He was, what, a 2-striper?
Yeah, I was a senior airman.
A senior airman, but he was driving a new car and had a gold credit card,
Yep.
And I thought I hit the jackpot.
Now, I was driving a Ford. I was driving a Ford Escort, stripped down. It was like the manual windows and everything. But compared to her car, she thought that was like a Ferrari.
Yeah, right. I was like, man, I have hit the mother load. Got this guy that makes a lot of money, and he's got a new car, and he's in the military, and all these things. And
hey, it worked. That's all I care about. It worked. I got the girl. So
that was too funny though. Can you help me pay this off now? And it was like, what? It's like $6,000 balance.
It was $800.
That's all?
That was it.
It seemed like a lot of money when
then.
I only have $20 a week to spare.
It was an $800 credit limit. So, I mean, I was paying my bills off. So
that's funny.
But anyway, I would say not putting enough money aside in my earlier years in the military. That would probably be my biggest regret. But, that's the thing about military is you get this steady paycheck coming in, and you just kind of think it's always going to be there. And I mean, still down here at the base, I see it with the younger troops. Everyone's driving nice cars.
Yes, and BMWs all over the place.
Corvettes, BMWs, Now,
they have your pick-up payment thing. That's why. You can go in there with your little paycheck, and they'll go, oh, well, how much would you like to pay a month?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have standard payments anymore. When we went to BMW years ago, they had this pick-up payment. I said, how does this work? They said, basically, you tell us what you want to pay a month.
Yeah.
$250 a month. Okay. And then you finance it for 5 years, and then you have a balloon note at the end.
That's right.
And they get you that, and that's where they make the money.
And now they've got 7-8 year terms on these cars.
It's
They're so
really
expensive.
bad.
Not saving enough. That would have to be mine.
Okay. That's really, seriously, that's your worst thing you ever did? I don't buy that. You didn't do anything really stupid?
No,
I don't believe it.
I was like a choir boy,
Yeah. Right.
This is the family show here.
But anyways, the 3 mistakes people are likely making: not having an emergency fund, not knowing where your money's going, and not saving enough for retirement. We all know this.
Yes,
this.
we do.
Everybody knows this. It's just like, I mean, I can't. And it takes a person who wants to change something.
That's right.
You have to want to change and have a bigger have a bigger view of their future.
You know, we
not be living in the moment.
That's right, and we tell our kids that you need to look down the road towards retirement. I know it's a long ways away, but what do you want?
It'll be here before you know it.
That's right. What do you want your standard of living to be like? Say if you had to go into a retirement home or something like that, do you want to be handled by just the average,
the random person that will take you?
Right.
Or
so
you want control.
Think about how you want to be in retirement in your latter years of your life to be taken care of. That's how I look at it. So it's worked out well for us, even though we've done some dumb financial stuff. You know, everyone has.
There's that one house that I really regret. That one house in Peachtree City.
The Spanish style.
Yes.
Yep, me too.
It looked like a great opportunity, and it just had a problem after problem after problem. The neighborhood was nice, but it was just that I wish we hadn't done that house, because we couldn't, after we spent all the time and money doing all the work ourselves for years fixing it up, and then nobody wanted to buy it, so we had to rent it, and then everything kept breaking in it, and it was just the timing of the whole thing, and it looked like, I mean,
it was a good house. It
was a nice house to live in, but as far as money goes, it was not a money maker.
Yeah.
It was a money drainer.
It was.
Oh well, it happens. It happens. Okay, this is really a fun article. So there are two things with kids. If you have kids or grandkids, there's two ideas. One of them is the Rooster Money app. And I saw this somewhere, and there's a YouTube video that you can watch that's better than going to the website. So if you go to YouTube and just type in Rooster Money app, this is an app that you can put on your phone where kids can log the chores. You tie basically the chores that they can do to money that they will get paid on. It is virtual money that they can turn into actual money. So it can teach them the value of work. And in the video, did you watch the video?
I did.
And the kid's like, this is so cool. I can do chores and I can make money and I can have goals that I can save my money toward buying a Lego set or whatever he wants. And the kid's all excited. He's out there walking the dog and cleaning his room and doing laundry. And he's a little like an 8-year-old kid.
Right.
It's really.
And I downloaded the app so I could.
Oh, you did?
I did, and I set Bailey up, our granddaughter. I set her up in there just to kind of play with it to see what it was like. And it's a really good app. So you can set up all kinds of chores in there.
I wonder at what age you could understand the concept of money.
Heck, I think way early.
We need to do that next time we have her. We need to, when we go to the grocery store or whatever, we need to give her $1 and see if she can comprehend the concept of what $1 will buy, and choosing betwing things.
Making the choice.
Yeah,
right.
Let's mess around with her with that.
Okay, but it's a really good app, and there's a couple.
It is a really good app.
There are two other ones out there. They're called Go Henry and Greenlight. And the difference is Rooster Money is tied to your credit card.
It can be.
It can be.
So they can make online purchases.
That's right. Well, no, that's how so if you pay them and it goes somewhere else, then that's how you have the money to put into the Rooster thing. But the Go Henry and the Greenlight is tied to a gift card or a debit card versus a credit card. So that's the difference between the three.
And that'd be for older kids, so that they do the chores, they earn the money, it's on their debit card, then they can actually go out and spend it.
Yep. They all look really good. But this is a great way to start training your kids to take responsibility, not just be looking for the handout all the time. You know, we are living in that age now where everything should be free. But
I wonder if we could get her to pick up all the pine cones at the lake.
A penny a piece, man.
And
she's already so low to the ground, so
right.
It'd be much easier on her.
The other thing that's a fun article is the family 401k. So this guy just created this and wrote an article about it. So they said, we have 4 young children, ages 3, 4, 6, and 8. From a very early age, we wanted them to be part of financial discussions. We decided early on that the best way to educate our children is to offer them the Douglas Family 401k plan. Starting when our oldest was only 4 years old, we determined that our kids should have a wallet and a piggy bank. We wanted them to make decisions and see immediate rewards for each. Whenever one of our children receives money for anything like a chore, birthday, they sell something in a garage sale, they have a decision to make, to spend or save. If they want to spend the money, they can put it in their wallet, and we will take them to the store to spend it. There are Only a few stipulations as to what they can and cannot buy, but otherwise this is truly spending money for them. The second option is they can invest it in the Douglas Family 401k plan, which is held in a piggy bank. When the child receives the money and chooses to put it in the piggy bank, the company, which is me and my wife, match it with no limit.
Oh, wow.
That is great. So they take their $20, they put it in the piggy bank, and they immediately put an extra $20 in there, so they see the value of saving, and then it's on hold for a year. It is locked in the savings like a CD. Mm-hmm. Mentally, they just lock it in for a year, and a year later, if they want to choose, they can take it out and spend it, but it helps them understand compounding kind of in a way.
I like that.
Every year on their birthday, we empty the piggy bank and count the money, while the financial advisor and me wants them to save it all and one day swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. They are allowed to take the money out this one day with no penalties. I love this whole thing.
It's great.
If you want a copy of this article, email me, Sherri, Sherri, at rfmoney.com. I'll shoot it to you because it might be something you want to do for your kids, your grandkids.
Yep.
And with that, we're almost out of time.
So tell us who we are, Sherri.
We are Randy and Sherri Goss. We're fee-based money managers with Rosenberg Financial Group, offices in Warner Robins, Macon, complimentary consultations. Give us a call, 922-8100. And have a great weekend.
The views expressed on the show should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risk, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Securities are offered through Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services are offered through Rosenberg Financial Group, a registered investor advisor not affiliated with Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated. Offices are located at 2517 Moody Road, Warner Robins, and 4875 Riverside Drive, Suite 201 in Macon. Phone numbers are 922-8100 and 741-4457.